Hello there, it's Matthew from Supply Me Limited. So on this video, I'd like to just discuss with you the importance of having a fire risk assessment. Okay, so it's a legal requirement under the Regulatory Reform Fire Safety Order 2005 to have a fire risk assessment, and that fire risk assessment is periodically refreshed. So like any risk assessment, it is refreshed on a regular basis, typically once per year, and it is done by a competent person. So because the Fire Safety Act that was recently introduced, it is now a legal requirement to make sure the people doing the fire risk assessment is competent. So the responsible person, i.e. the employer or the chair of a board, whoever's employing that person to do the fire risk assessment, has got to make sure that they're doing their due diligence checks to make sure that person is competent. And that fire risk assessment then contains the required amount of information. Okay, so when I go along and do a fire risk assessment at a premises, you'll see me with my laser beam measuring up all the different room sizes and adding up the number of extinguishers and so on and types of. It's all part and parcel in that fire risk assessment. Okay, so the importance of a fire risk assessment, basically, it is a systematic review of the premises, of the activities that are underdone, and of the types of people that you have in a premises. If you have a person of limited capability, then you should have a PEEP. PEEP stands for Personal Emergency Evacuation Plan/Procedure. Okay, so how are you going to assist that person to go to a point of safety should a fire occur? So what it is, as I said, it's systematic review is a learning process. Okay, it's never it's not a document that just sits on a shelf. It's what we call a live document. So if anything changes in the premises, the fire risk assessment is reviewed again. So yeah, so it's a learning. It's a point of learning to make sure that you've got all the measures in place to ensure people are safe in the event of a fire, making sure you've got all of the documentation. So you're doing the daily checks, the weekly checks, the monthly checks, the 6 monthly checks, and your annual servicing as well. Okay. If the fire risk assessment highlights points of action, then it is a requirement to make sure them actions are done. When we go do a fire risk assessment, we provide an action plan, which is a traffic light system. So the reds are do them ASAP, the ambers are due within 4 weeks, and then your greens are due within 8 weeks, typically. So that's how that works. So make sure your fire risk assessment is done on a regular basis by a competent person to make sure you comply with regulatory requirements and ready to rock and roll. Okay, so that's just a quick one about the importance of having a fire risk assessment. If you do not have a fire risk assessment in place and you are inspected by the fire service, because that's who enforces fire safety nowadays, then you may or may not receive a prosecution for not having a fire risk assessment. It is a legal requirement to have that document. I cannot stress that high enough. So please make sure you have that done, and it is a readily available document for when enforcement comes around. So thank you very much for watching this video. Any questions, give us a tinkle 0113 479 0810 or drop us an email support@supply-me.co.uk. Okay, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye bye.